My husband, Leo, 34 male, and I, 30F, have been together for 7 years, married for 4 of them. We don't have any kids and we don't intend to. 2 years ago, Leo asked me for an open marriage. I was devastated at the time. I couldn't understand why he didn't just want me. I couldn't even comprehend the idea of sharing him either. He gave me the same song and dance a lot of men give their spouses, swore up and down that he loved me. I just wasn't fulfilling his needs. He needed more than what I could give. It was just to spice up our life. It was just sex, etc., etc. I did ask if there was someone else. He said no. To this day, I'm still not sure if I believed him. But at the time, I was angry and hurt and said no. He pestered me to change my mind for a week before giving me an ultimatum: open marriage or divorce. I chose the open marriage. I just couldn't bear the thought of him leaving me at the time. We have rules. We can't bring any partners home. We have to get tested for STD every 3 months. 1 weekend out of the month must be left free for us time. Any money we spend on / with our partners must come from our personal accounts. I didn't partake in the open marriage myself for the first 3 months. Leo obviously did right away. He seemed to be gone or out late almost all the time, but he always acted so happy and loving towards me while I felt like I was dying inside. It killed me to think he was sleeping with other women, and I felt so lonely and unattractive and not good enough. I told my sister, Katie, 26F, and a few close friends everything. Katie told me to just play his game and be part of the open marriage too. If he can sleep around, so could I. I honestly didn't have much confidence in myself at the time. I'm a bit overweight and I've never considered myself conventionally pretty. I was afraid this would just humiliate me further. Katie and my best friend Jessie, 30F, set up my online dating profiles for me. I got so many matches that it was overwhelming. When I told Leo, he was surprised, but told me to do whatever I thought was best. Jessie helped me choose my first date, and I actually had a great time. He didn't pressure me for sex and took me out to drinks and dinner. We did have sex eventually, but it was all just casual and we didn't see each other after a couple months of casual dating. That first guy really made me feel more confident in myself. So I kept going on dates with men. A lot of them wanted to treat me, so I didn't have to spend much of my own money. Not only that, but some of the men have given me the best sex I've ever had in my life. Almost like the kind of sex you read in romance novels. It's been amazing. I am currently seeing 2 different men, alongside Leo. One, Mark, 38 meters, is more of a steady boyfriend I've been with for about 6 months, and the one, Steven, 25 meters, is very casual, mostly just hanging out and sex. They know about my open marriage / other relationships and are fine with it. My husband has not been so lucky. In the beginning, he definitely was. He was always out and about and didn't seem to care even when I started dating too. But now he just complains a lot and hasn't been going out much. He whines about how he's usually the one spending money. A lot of the women he tries to be with want an emotional connection before sex. He often wants to be with younger women, but they want younger men. He's also been upset that I go out with random guys so often while he's at home alone all the time. He hasn't asked to close the marriage yet, but I feel like he will soon. He keeps saying he misses us and wants to spend more time together. He tried to initiate sex a lot more too. He wants to go on dates and go on vacations and all that stuff more and more, and he gets upset when I tell him I can't because I've already scheduled to do stuff with my partners, mostly Ark. Honestly, I don't think I love Leo anymore. I care about him, but I just don't love him. I'm not saying I love Mark or Steven, but I honestly feel closer to Mark nowadays than I do Leo. Mark makes me feel comfortable and safe, and I love spending time with him more than my own husband. Steven is funny and sweet and really good at sex. Katie and Jessie have been wanting me to divorce for a year now, but I was afraid of hurting him and thought I still loved him. But I think my love for him died when he asked for this open marriage in the first place. Seeing him get all pissy about it now just because he's not benefiting from it is also a turnoff for me too. But I don't know if divorce is the best option. I still care about him and I still don't want to hurt him. Maybe if he finally asks to close the marriage, we can talk about it then. Update 1. A lot of you kept saying the same thing, divorce. But, the thing is, I think a part of me does still loves my husband. I know in my last post that I didn't think I loved him anymore, but I can't just forget about the things that I do love. I love when he sings in the shower. I love when he laughs so hard, he snorts. I love when he kisses my forehead when I've had a bad day. I love when he holds my hand when we watch TV together. Leo has done a lot of shitty things, but he really isn't the big asshole people think. Maybe that was my fault. But even if I do still love him, I'm not in love with him anymore. I don't think I have been for a while. I care about him, a part of me does still love him, but you all were right, I should have just divorced him when he gave me that ultimatum in the first place. This past Saturday, we had the big talk. I initiated it, but he didn't seem too surprised. I just told him that I noticed he didn't seem to like me going out with Mark or Steven and asked if there was a problem. He said there was. But he didn't ask me to close the marriage. He just asked me if I still loved him. I said, something like not like I used to. He broke down crying, which made me cry. I guess he had known for a while that I wasn't in love anymore, but he had hoped he could win me back if he funneled all of his energy into me. I was honest and told him that during those first 3 months of our open marriage, I think my love for him died and I just couldn't get it back. I did tell him that I still cared about him and that I did love him, but it's not the same as it was. He asked if I loved Mark or Steven, and I said no. I like being with them and I care about them a lot, but I can't say I'm in love with either of them. I also finally asked him why he wanted the open marriage in the first place. A lot of you in the comments said he already had someone lined up, and you were right. He had someone at work he was interested in and she wanted him too. The open marriage was just to get permission. He honestly never expected me to also get my own partners because of how unconfident I was, but he didn't want to stop me either because he thought nothing would come of it. He didn't really like me seeing other men, but he knew it wouldn't have been fair to tell me no when I gave him permission first. I guess Mark and Steven made him insecure because I was spending so much time with them on a regular basis. The open marriage was just sex on the side for him. He only did hookups and they never lasted long. He genuinely always just loved only me. But he thought I was falling in love with my partners and he was losing me and wanted to win me back. We cried a lot and talked a lot. We've decided to get a divorce. Since the house is in his name, I'm going to move out and live with Katie for a while. He told me I didn't have to and I could stay until the divorce was finalized, but I just can't. It's too hard to even look at him sometimes. I don't know how I feel, to be honest. I thought I would be relieved or sad, but I'm just tired. I wish I could have been like you all wanted me to be, clapping back or being sarcastic and snarky or rubbing it in his face, but I don't feel like I've won anything. I just feel lost. Update 2. Hey, it's been a while. It feels like both lot and nothing has happened. I still have a lot of feelings, but I'm also just really tired. Leo and I are still in the middle of our divorce. It's been as amicable as a divorce can be. Since we mutually agreed to it and we had prenup, it's been pretty easy splitting everything else 50-50. My lawyer says I should be divorced by the end of the year. Leo is insistent on giving me alimony, but I'm not really interested. Thanks to a lot of people making me think about Leo's explanation for the open marriage, I did approach him about it again and asked him to be 100% honest with me about that girl from work. He admitted there was more to it than he admitted. This is what he explained to me, and I have decided to believe him. Even if he's lying, it doesn't really matter anymore since we're getting divorced. I also just have little energy to care about the details at this point. According to him, this is the timeline. He was posting on Reddit about his kinks for advice and such, which I did know about beforehand. He was getting messages from this one user and they just kept talking back and forth. He mentions my name to the user in a conversation, which he let me read. During his lunch break, his coworker, I'll call her Mary, approaches him and asks if he uses Reddit and asks about his handle. He confirms, and then Mary tells her he's the user he's been talking to. They start talking more and more in real life as friends and eventually start talking through IG. He also showed me these conversations. The conversations were mostly just memes and jokes with occasional flirt/mentioning of kinks. At one point, she says it's too bad he's not single. This is when he decided to demand the open marriage, because Mary was clearly into him and into the same kinks, and she could sexually satisfy him since I was unable to. That's how he basically said it. Anyway, truth be told, we did have some bed difficulties before the open marriage was brought up. I'm very vanilla, and he discovered his kinks after we were married. I tried them all for him, but I just couldn't get into it and he didn't like seeing me struggle, so he didn't try to bring them into the bedroom again after it was obvious I didn't like it. So we did have sexual compatibility issues. Maybe we were doomed to fail even without the open marriage ultimatum. Our families, outside of my sister, were shocked when we told everyone we were getting a divorce. They always thought we were so happy and in love. My mom blames me, which I expected, but it still hurts. They don't know about the open marriage, and Leo and I plan to keep it that way. I think he is ashamed to tell them. I am too, if I'm being honest. I really thought Leo was the love on my life. He was my first for almost everything. I said we were together for 7 years, but we were friends since college. I've known him for nearly 12 years, and we're about to become strangers soon. I still mourn my marriage, even though Katie and Jesse keep telling me this is for the best. They're both definitely thrilled, they don't hide it, but they also know this has been a weird time for me. I just don't know how to feel. I thought I would feel free or relieved or heartbroken or something, but I just feel weird. Like I lost a part of myself and I don't know how to get it back. I'm still living with Katie, but I'll be moving out soon. I found a 1-bedroom apartment that's near Jesse, so I won't be completely alone. Mark offered to let me move in with him, but I declined. Honestly, we're kind of on standby. He knows I'm having a hard time processing my feelings about my husband and the end of my marriage. I think he wants us to be official, but I don't know. I really do like Mark and I don't want to lose him, but I feel like I need to figure myself out first. As for Steven, we ended our relationship at the beginning of August. He got a job offer in another state and took it. Even though it was casual, I did cry a little. Steven is a great guy. Whenever he does decide to settle down into something serious, the woman who gets him will be a lucky one. We've been texting here and there, but it's mostly just sending each other tic-tacs and polite hope you're doing well messages. Some people ask me if I wanted to go back to monogamy, even after experimenting and clearly getting into this poly relationship I had going on. And the answer is yes, I do. Even though Mark and Steven were great and I met plenty of great guys during my open marriage, I don't know if I've really been happy with myself or my choices. I also think I felt guilty a lot too, like I was somehow cheating on Leo, Mark, and Steven even though it was all consensual. Polyamory and open relationships may work for some people, but it's really just not for me. Jesse says I need to get a therapist. I have tried looking, but finding a therapist that's both available and seems like a good fit is a pain. Hopefully I can find one by the time the divorce is settled. I also want to figure out what to do about Mark on my own. I don't want to lead him on and give him false hope. Maybe we should take a break, or maybe I should tell him to just break up with me. He should find his own happiness without worrying about me. Now on to second story. Fiancé keeps pushing me to perform fitness tricks at social events and in bed, and I'm thinking of calling off the wedding. My fiancé 30 keeps pressuring me 29F to perform party tricks with friends. I lurked long enough to know that one of the main questions is how long we've been together. I met him in college and we started dating after graduation. I was also recently promoted to a position with different hours that allowed me to pursue a hobby I did through high school. I practice aerial silks, and my new position owes me to clock out before the studio closes. I kept up some conditioning that I used to do in the gym, so it helped me somewhat stay in shape over the years. However, I've noticed a change in my fiancé, James, since inviting him to a practice. We were invited to a graduation party over the summer, and one of the games they played involved a volunteer party trick for a prize. James raised his hand on my behalf without warning and asked me to do a split, and everyone was looking at me. Before I continue, my studio had a recital that I didn't feel ready to perform in. I was just getting back after years off, and I vented to him about how I was shy for other reasons. The first was that I was really rusty, and the second was because of some weight I was trying to lose. Those were my reasons for skipping the recital that he knew weeks before the graduation party. So when he asked me to do a split/handstand on the spot, I was really anxious and whispered I didn't want to. But he tried to get others to cheer me on to do it, and that's when I started to cry. I got up to go to the bathroom after they moved on to someone else, and he followed me and apologized too. For context, he wasn't like this until he came to my practice, and he did something else a few weeks before the graduation party too. He began asking me to do flexible positions in bed, and I didn't mind the first time he asked. But he has wanted to have more sex since my practice, and he'd ask me about different poses each time. I don't mind sometimes, but he's been unusually pushy since the practice, even when I said I didn't want to sometimes. I told him I was fine with it sometimes, but he keeps bringing me new poses he looked up that turn him on but aren't ideal for me, and I felt like an object with his splits request at the graduation. I accepted his graduation apology when we talked at home, and I told him I didn't mind trying poses from time to time. But I also told him that sometimes didn't mean every time, and I also told him how the graduation hurt my feelings. He's since apologized and stopped requesting poses for a few weeks, but something else he said made me wonder if he got it at all. He said he wanted to respect my request, but he also asked if I could perform silks at our wedding after looking up some YouTube weddings that featured them. I told him I didn't want to and that it didn't seem like the time or place, not to mention becoming sweaty and having to change clothes. I also pointed out how those videos featured contracted performers and not the bride performing. I haven't told family/friends that I got back into silks because I want to refine my skills/confidence a bit, but he's been pushing me because it'd help me overcome my fears. But when I told him no, he told me to think about it and that he'd check back with me occasionally, and that really bothered me. I'm not ready, but he doesn't understand that. He's also not the one performing. But he's been really pushy since attending my practice, and it's honestly turning me off a lot. I just wanted to ask how to go forward from here after he said he laid off the bed request to give me space, but that sometimes we need to be pushed to overcome our fears. He has not backed off of me performing, and I'm honestly thinking about calling things off with how pushy he's become. Update 1. I talked to him shortly after my post and had a few notes from what I mentioned above. I told him about how he changed since my practice and that I felt like an object since too. From ignoring numerous no's after giving him too many chances, I told him I was done with the relationship because it had been going on for months. But he said I was being unreasonable and that he gave me space that I asked for. When I told him that I never asked for space, he asked what would happen if our kids never learned to step out of their comfort zone, but I told him that that was unrelated. The bottom line was that he ignored me numerous times over the past few months, but he said I wasn't being fair. He also that he downloaded some photos from my old Circus Facebook account, a separate one I used to have for silks only, and posted them for encouragement, and I had no clue until he told me he said he wanted to show me for encouragement because I was better than I thought, and he took me to an Instagram I didn't know he had. It wasn't his main, and the account was mostly for memes. It also had a different name that wasn't related to anything personal, but he said some of his friends followed it. He showed me some posts that came from downloaded images of my high school/college performances, and he never asked for my consent. He even wrote that I was lacking in confidence, and he showed me some comments that said positive things. But there were also one or two that were somewhat lewd from people I didn't know, and the bottom line was he never asked for consent. He also scrolled away from the lewd ones quickly too. I planned to post my silks comeback on Facebook/Instagram after my first recital, but it hadn't happened yet. He told people that I came back on his account, and he said he planned to show me the account/encouragement closer to the wedding. He also said I was being unfair because it was a part of me that he found attractive, so I should be willing to do more in bed. He wasn't like this before I got back into silks, after years off, and coming to my practice, and he's been a different person since. He even admitted to getting off to some of the photos, but that he'd rather do it with me. That really bothered me because some of the ones he posted were of me in high school on top of everything else. I'm currently working on moving in with a girlfriend temporarily, and she is going to help me move. My now ex-fiancé also made a post about how I was being unreasonable and getting upset at him for supporting me on silks. He also said I was projecting my insecurities onto him for trying to be supportive, but he didn't include the sex pressure or wedding performance he was pushing for. I also asked him to take the photos down, but he said he wouldn't. It really feels like an invasion of privacy. I also talked to my parents as some suggested, and they were happy to learn I got back into silks, albeit sad at the same time. My dad is really upset at him and said he's trying to look into the photos being removed, but I'm not sure if much can be done. Mom said that me getting back into silks likely triggered something that was always inside him since he knew I did silks in the past, and he became excited when I got back into it. It's just been really stressful, and I'm taking a break from silks for now. I'll try to go back someday, but I'm just really stressed and will probably take some time off from work too. A few aerialists/circus artists also gave advice in my first post which surprised me, and some said it unfortunately wasn't uncommon to find people like my ex-fiancé who sexualize everything and can't appreciate the art/skills. Update 2. I wanted to get back into silks for the new year, and I'm hoping to soon. I wanted to start in January, but some stuff happened that's been stressful during and after the breakup. He's been really spiteful since we broke up, and he refused to take the photos down. I tried reporting the photos he stole from my circus Instagram like some suggested, and some of them were able to come down after my parents reported it too. But he then began posting my photos to one of his meme Twitter accounts since our breakup, and he's posted some that I didn't know I had. I have since made my circus Instagram private for the time being, but I don't want it to be private because it's specifically for aerial and sometimes helpful as a resume for landing gigs by word of mouth. Not that I was back to being in shape for performing, but it shows my progress over the years. I'm guessing he downloaded other photos in the past, and my friend thinks he used some kind of downloader to download them from Instagram. She also said he could have screenshotted it, and the whole thing's been annoying. I've been trying to move forward with my life, but Dad has been suggesting legal action for 2 reasons. One is that he posted new photos of me including some from high school practicing/performing, and the second is because he admitted to getting off to my photos after we broke up and right before I moved out. That really messed with me, and I don't know how long he's done that for. He didn't specify what age I was in the photos he did that on, but Dad is encouraging me to bring it up to authorities because he thinks there might be something more there, and he's uploaded a steady diet of new photos since the breakup despite my page being temporarily private. The only reason I didn't do it immediately was because he suggested getting a lawyer first, because he's been vindictive, along with a therapist that I now have, and he wanted me to talk to my therapist about it too. I've hit a delay in going back to my silk studio not just because of what he said about my photos, and posting new ones I never thought he had, but mostly because of the possibility of something much more sinister going on. In some of my younger photos back in high school, there were other kids in them too, and I'm considering reporting it not just for that reason, but also because I feel I won't have peace until I do. Dad has since consulted with a lawyer about the photos of me as a minor/other kids and him stealing my photos, and I'm likely considering it. I just hate people like him who sexualize everything and probably never appreciated the skills/hard work. He made another comment before I moved out, and he said the only reason people cheer when girls do splits and no other moves is because they're opening their legs. He began insulting me before I moved out, and it's made me so angry just to remember them. I'm trying to forget, and work with my therapist, but I'm hoping to return to silks at some point this year after sorting through what I mentioned.